Hello dear students, I am Dr. Savina, Assistant Professor in Botany in BPS Institute of Higher Learning, which is a constituent college of BPS Mahila Vishwavidyalaya Khanpur Kala in district Sonipat. Today we will discuss about the life cycle of Kara. It is an alga and it is in the syllabus of BSc first year medical students under the paper first, that is diversity of microbes and cryptogams. The life cycle of Kara is divided into two parts. In part 1 we will discuss about the thallus structure, and in part 2 we will discuss about the reproduction and life cycle. In part 1 the following topics will be discussed. First of all, the systematic position, then occurrence, then thallus structure, cell structure and growth. First of all, the systematic position of Kara. As Kara is an algae and it algae comes under the kingdom Plantae. The Plantae kingdom is having many divisions, and out of these Kara comes under the division Thallophyta. Thallophyta division means the plant body is undifferentiated into root, stem and leaves etc., and it is very simple type plant body. Then Thallophyta division has two subdivisions, algae and fungi. Kara comes under the subdivision algae. Class of the Kara is Chlorophyceae, which is commonly called green algae, and according to F.E. classification, Kara comes in the class Chlorophyceae. Order is Caryls and family is Cariaceae. After that, the occurrence of the Kara. Kara is a well distributed and it includes almost 125 species, and out of these almost 30 species are reported in India. Few common Indian species are Kara gracilis, Kara nuda, Kara zelenica and Kara fragilis etc. It is a freshwater alga and it is found in the fresh still water of ponds, lakes, pools, etc., and it is found in the substratum attached with the mud of these water bodies. Exceptions are also there, like Cara fragilis species is also reported from hot water springs. So it is an exceptional example. Then Cara thallus is rough in texture due to the presence of calcium carbonate in it. So it is commonly also called stone wort. Stone means the texture which is rough, and wort means attached. So as it is attached to the mud of the water body and the stone like touch, so it is commonly called stone wort. Then there is also another unique character in Cara thallus, that it has onion like smell due to the presence of sulfur compounds in it. So it smells like onion. This is the structure of the Cara thallus. Diagrammatically, Cara is visible like this. These are the rhizoids with which the thallus is attached to the mud of the water body. This is the body or the thallus, and in the center of the plant there is a main axis, and this main axis is well branched. This is called the long branch. This is also the long branch, and on the main axis and the long branch there are whorled branches also which are short in length. So these are the short laterals or the branches of limited growth. And this is the collective picture of the collected sample of the Cara thallus. So we come to the thallus structure. Cara is an attached and submerged form of thallus, and it is well branched. Due to this, the thallus is multicellular and as it is clearly visible with the naked eyes, and it is not like the other algae which cannot be visible without microscope. So this algae is called macroscopic also, and the thallus is having nodes and internodes, and due to this the thallus is jointed in appearance. Normally the length of the thallus varies between 20 to 30 centimeter, but often it grows more than that and it attains the length of up to 1 meter. Again, there are exceptions. Some species like Cara hetae are very small and it may be up to only 2 to 3 centimeter in length. Due to the appearance of Cara, as it is having nodes and internodes, and from the nodes the whorled branches which are of limited growth, these originate. So the thallus appears like the tail of a horse, like a plant equisetum which is a pteridophyte, and the common name of the equisetum is horsetail. So Cara is also commonly called aquatic horsetail. After that, the Cara thallus is differentiated into two parts, the rhizoids and the main axis. The rhizoids are the structures which help in the attachment, and the main axis is the thallus part which remains floating in the or under or submerged condition of the water, and it is well branched. Now we come to the rhizoids. These rhizoids are white or brown in color. These are thin thread-like and multicellular structures, and these thread-like structures are uniseriate. That means there is a single row of cells, and these are branched also. These rhizoids arise from the basal node of the main axis, rather from the peripheral cells of the basal node of the main axis, and penetrate into the mud of the pond or pool, etc. And these are having the oblique septa. These rhizoids also show growth, and the growth is apical type. The terminal cell of the rhizoid that divides and increases the length of these rhizoids. The rhizoids perform 2 or 3 functions. Mainly these help in the attachment of the thallus to the substratum. After that, these also help in the absorption of minerals from the mud, and the minerals help in the photosynthesis phenomena of the thallus. And also sometimes these rhizoids perform a special function, that is these help in the vegetative multiplication by forming some special outgrowths or structures like bulbils and secondary protonema, and these structures help in the vegetative multiplication of the thallus. Then we come to the structure of the main axis. The main axis is erect, long, branched, and it is mainly differentiated into nodes and internodes, and so the main axis gives the appearance of jointed structure. Then as the nodes and internodes are present, the cells of these nodes and internodes are also different in structure. The internode consists of a single elongated cell which is oblong in shape. This internodal cell in some species is also covered by a sheath-like cell which is called cortex, and if this sheath-like cortex is present around the internode, the species is called corticated. For example, Cara zelenica. And if the cortical layer or sheath is absent, then the species are called ecorticated. For example, Cara brunei, nuda and velicii, etc. The node has a pair of cells which is smaller as compared to the internodal cell, and this pair of cells are surrounded by 6 to 20 peripheral cells, and these two central cells and 6 to 20 peripheral cells which form the node, these all cells originate from a single nodal initial cell. After that, this main axis is well branched, which you have seen in the diagram of the thallus. There are two type of branches in the Kara thallus. First is the branches of limited growth, and second is the branches of unlimited growth. The branches of limited growth, as it is clear from its name, these branches are having limited growth. That means these are short in length, and after attaining a particular length they stop growth, and these originate in whorls of 6 to 20 from the peripheral cells of the node of main axis, as well as the branches of unlimited growth. These branches are also called branchlets, branches of first order, primary laterals, or leaves also. These branches stop to grow after attaining almost 5 to 15 node length, so these are called the branches of limited growth. Even the length of the internode of these branches is also shorter as compared to the length of the internodal cell of the main axis and the long branches. Then from these branches of limited growth, two type of appendages originate, the stipuloids and the reproductive structures, and these arise from the nodes of these branches. Next we come to the branches of unlimited growth. The branches of unlimited growth arise from the axils of the branches of limited growth. This you can see in the diagram. In this diagram you can see these are the long branches, and these long branches originate in the axil or this corner which is formed by the main axis and the limited growth branches. From this corner, this axil, these branches, long branches originate, and these are few in number, and these originate singly, not in whorls like the short branches. And as these arise from the axils of the main axis and the short branches, so these are also called the auxiliary branches. After that, these branches are similar to the structure of the main axis. These are also having nodes and internodes, and again on the nodes of these branches, whorled small branches or the limited growth branches, these branches originate in whorl, and this structure is very similar to the structure of the main axis. Then we come to the structure of stipuloids. Stipuloids or stipules, these are special type of outgrowths, and these originate from the basal node of the branches of limited growth, and these are very short, oval and pointed single cell outgrowth like structure like spines, and these are called stipules or stipuloids. In most of the species of Kara, the number of stipuloids is double the number of primary laterals, so such species are called bistipulate. As the number of primary lateral is 6 to 20, there the number of in bistipulate, this number of stipuloids is double the number of the primary laterals. And in some species, most of the species are bistipulate, but in some species like Kara brunei, the number of stipuloids is equal to the number of primary laterals, and such species are called unistipulate. And in the species where the number of stipules is in unistipulate, these are also called haplostephanous, as there is a one whorl of these stipules. And if the bistipulate species, that means double the number of primary laterals, then the stipuloids are present in two whorls, So these are also called diplostephanous. In some species there are exceptions also, like Caravaliceae. No stipuloids are present. In Caravaliceae, the stipuloids are rudimentary, and in Carapacianae, the stipuloids are absent. So these are two exceptional species. Then we come to the cortex. As we have earlier talked that the some species are corticated, that means there is a cortex or sheath like structure around the internodal cell, then the species is called corticated. But from where this cortex originates, this cortex which is present in the corticated species, this originates, this can you see in this diagram, this cortical cells or sheath like cortical cells originate from the nodes, and all the complete sheath doesn't originate from the single node, rather half portion of this sheath originate from the upper node and half portion of this sheath originates from the lower node. And this is visible in this surface view. There is central internodal cell and the cortical cells in a series or single cell series surround these internodal cells. Now the peripheral cell of the upper node, these divide and form filaments which run downward or hang downward, and the lower node also in the same pattern, peripheral cells of the lower node, these divide and form the filament which grows upward. The filament which grows downward, that is called the descending filament, and the filament which moves upward, it is called the ascending filament, and these two filaments join in the center and in this way form a complete sheath of cortical cell. So this species is called corticated, and if sheath is absent, it is called ecorticated. Then next we come to the cell structure of Cara. As there are nodal and internodal cells, so the cell structure also different at these nodes and internodal cells. The nodal cell is visible from this diagram. You can see this is small cell and this is large cell. The small cells is called the nodal cell, and there are two nodal cells which are isodiametric, that means of equal size and equal diameter. These are two central cells at the node, and these cells are uninucleate, that means these are having a single nucleus, and the cytoplasm is dense in these nodal cells as compared to the internodal cell, as these nodal cells are more active as compared to the internodal cell. Internodal cell just helps in the increasing the size of the thallus, but the nodal cell produces all the type of appendages and branches, etc. So it is more active, so it is having dense cytoplasm. Along with that, the small discoider chloroplast are also present, and small vacuoles are also present in the nodal cell, and the cytoplasm of the nodal cell is differentiated into outer exoplasm and in the center it is called endoplasm. Then the internodal cell, it is elongated or oblong, and there is a single large vacuole in the center of this internodal cell, and it is multinucleate as compared to the nodal cell which is uninucleate. And this cell is also having cytoplasm, rather it is less dense as compared to the nodal cell, but it is also differentiated into outer exoplasm and inner endoplasm. The cytoplasm shows streaming movement in the endoplasm region, and the cell wall of the nodal and internodal cell has a pore, and through the pore the cytoplasmic movements takes place in the two cells. Now the growth of the Kara thallus. Kara thallus remains growing throughout their life, and the growth phenomena is also specific. You can see from this diagram there is a डोम शेप्ड, गुंबद की शेप का, डोम बोलते हैं उसको, डोम शेप्ड एपिकल सेल. The growth of the complete thallus takes place from this single apical cell which is dome shaped. This cells divides repeatedly by transfer division and forms a disc of or row of few cells, and each cell of these row again finally divides into two cells by again transfer division, and out of these two cells upper one is biconcave and it is called nodal initial, and lower one is biconvex and it is called internodal initial. The biconcave cell just elongates, biconvex cell just elongates, it does not divide further, and it is called internodal cell. But the nodal cell which is biconcave, it divides by vertical division and forms a plate of few cells, and out of this plate of few cells, two cells in the center act as the nodal cells and surrounding 6 to 20 cells act as the peripheral cell. So in this way the structure of node is formed, and the internodal cell is just a single elongated oblong shaped cell, and all the branches like branches of limited growth as well as the branches of unlimited growth, these originate from the division of the peripheral cells which originate from the initial nodal initial cell which is biconcave. So in this way the growth of the Kara thallus takes place. So this is the about the thallus structure and the how the thallus grows or elongates. In this portion there few questions arise. These questions are objective type or just one mark questions. There can be many more, like what is the common name of Kara, why Kara algae is commonly called stonewort, why Kara has onion like smell, any unique feature of Kara thallus, or why Kara algae is placed in class Chlorophyceae. These are few questions and there can be many more. So today up to this is all about the vegetative structure of the thallus, and in the next lecture we will study about the reproduction of Kara thallus. Thank you very much for listening carefully, and I feel that the topic will be clear to you.